All right, and welcome back again, 49ers fans. Let's see if I can rip out 2021 before the Lions game tonight. Not sure how that one's going to go. The Lions are killing it this season, and we've got nothing but problems with our O-line, but we'll see how we do anyway. The season's pretty much toast anyway, so we might as well get some reps in and play some of the backups. All right, so really quickly, 2021, our roster was Jimmy G, stayed healthy for most of the season at QB. We had just picked up Trey Lance, so games played was 15 for Jimmy G and 2 for Trey Lance. Debo actually tried 2 throws in this season and completed 1. And total air yards was 24 yards, so kind of interesting there. Running backs, Elijah Mitchell, Jeff Wilson, Trey Sermon, Jermichael Hasty, still don't think I'm pronouncing that name right, and Kyle Juszczyk again was our fullback. Wide receivers, we had Debo, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Juwan Jennings first season, Mohamed Sanu, Trent Sherfield, and a couple backup tight ends like Charlie Werner and Ross Dwelly. All right, defense, Fred Warner and Aziz Al-Shair. Linebackers, free safety, Jimmy Ward. Jaquiski Tart was our strong safety. Eric Armstead up front with Nick Bosa. Josh Norman was our right corner back. Emmanuel Mosley was our left cornerback. We had Samson Ebukam as one of our front line. Talanoa Hufunga was one of our DBs. Dante Johnson, Flanagan Fowles, Demetrius Flanagan Fowles was another one. Dre Greenlaw was one of the linebackers, but I believe, and we'll talk about that in a minute, he was out for quite a bit of it. And that's kind of the most notable names. So still pretty good. I believe this is the first season we didn't have Richard Sherman. Yeah, that looks correct. All right. So injury-wise, Jimmy G managed to stay healthy. Kind of more notable was, let's see here, Dre Greenlaw, that's right. Yeah, he was out basically after game 1 with a groin injury and came back against Minnesota, but then was out again until the end of the season. Played the last 3 games as well. Maurice Hurst Jr. was out for most of the season. Richie James, Mike McGlinchey was out for most of the season, as well as Justin Skule. All right, so getting past the injuries, let's get into the box scores. I'll bring up the spreadsheet now. All right, so 2021, week 1, Niners and Lions. That's kind of ironic because that's who's playing tonight. So we actually won that game, 41-33. You can see really good, lots of scoring in the second quarter. We're up 31-10 going into the second half. Both score in quarter 3, but get outscored in quarter 4. Don't really make it a game, probably a little bit of garbage time stuff there, and 60. So get outscored, but I'm not sure that one's entirely relevant to the overall thing we're looking at here with how we're scoring in the fourth quarter, considering how far ahead we were by that point. So field goals 2, TD rushes 2, TD passes 2, and puts us at 1-0 and the Lions at 0-1. All right, week 2. We play in Philadelphia against the Eagles. Going into the second half, we're up 7-3. Nothing scored in the third quarter. And fourth quarter, we get 10 and they get 8. So we win again. 17-11's the final. 1 field goal, 1 TD rush, 1 TD pass. And we go to 2-0 and they go to 1-1. So good start to the season. Week 3, Packers play in San Fran. We're up. Well, they're up, actually, 17-7 going into the second half. Then we score a nice set of points, but they managed to pull off 13 in the fourth and hold us off for a win. So final score, Packers 30, Niners 28. No field goals, 2 touchdown rushes, 2 touchdown passes. So both teams go to 2-1. So fairly even game, fairly even score. Kind of makes sense. Would have been nice to pull out the win on that one. Week 4, Seahawks playing in San Fran. 7-7 going into the second half. Pretty even third quarter. and then they outscore us in the fourth and pull off the win. No field goals, no TD rushes, 3 touchdown passes. So it looks like we went for the 2 extra points because we had missed the PAT in the third. Not a sellout, so we're not selling out our own stadium at this point, possibly because of last season. Final score, 28-21 Seahawks. Both teams go to 2-2. Week 5 against the Cardinals. We're playing in Phoenix. Cardinals are up 10-0 going into the second half. We score in the third and again in the fourth, but we get outscored in the fourth, and the Cardinals win 17-10. So Cardinals are having a good season. Our field goals were 1. Rushing touchdowns 1. No touchdowns passing. Final score 17-10 Cardinals. Cards go to 5-0. We fall to 2-3. So not a great start, and we're back to that massive yellow where we are getting outscored in the fourth again. All right, we might as well just leave that as it is for now. We'll do week 7. So Colts are playing in San Fran. Pretty even, 13-12 going into the third quarter. Colts score again in the third and then outscore us in the fourth again with 10. So another kind of rough outing there. 2 field goals, 1 touchdown rushing, 1 touchdown passing. Again, not a sellout in San Francisco. So Colts go to 3-4, we go to 2-4. So not particularly a good start in the first 7 games. We'll scroll down and bring up week 8. Niners playing in Chicago. We're down 13-9 going into the third quarter. Managed to score quite a few in Q4, which is great. Pull off the win. 4 field goals, 3 touchdowns rushing, but no touchdowns while passing. So final score is 33-22 Niners. Final record as of week 8, 3-4 for the Niners, 3-5 for the Bears. All right. Week 9. Oh, that's right. Yeah, week 6 was the bye, I was going to say. All right, week 9. Playing the Cardinals again. All right, it seems like we're playing the Cardinals an awful lot here. Cardinals score a lot in the first half, 17-7 going into the second half. Score 2 more touchdowns in the third, and we managed to get some points in the back half of the game, but not enough to win. So 1 field goal, no touchdowns rushing, 2 touchdowns passing. Final score 31-17 Cardinals. Cards go to 8-1. We go to 3-5. So not starting off well, getting into losing record time. Week 10, Rams are playing in San Francisco. Here we're starting to play a bit better. We're up 21-7 going into the second half. Scoring both quarters in the second half, and we pull off the wins with 1 field goal, 1 touchdown rushing, 1 touchdown passing. So that was a much better game. We win 31-10. Rams were a good team at this point. They came into this game 7-2, so they go to 7-3, and we go to 4-5. Week 11, Niners playing in Jacksonville. So another good game, pretty not even scoring, but we scored in every quarter. We're up 20-3 going into the second half. Get another touchdown in the third. We do get outscored in the fourth, but we managed to pull off the win with 3 field goals, 1 touchdown rushing, 2 touchdowns passing. So final score 30-10 for the Niners against the Jags. We go to 5-5, and obviously the Jags are having a tough season. They're down to 2-8. Week 12 against the Vikings. So dead even going into the second half, 14-14. They score 12 in quarter 3, but we managed to get 20. Nobody scores in the last quarter of the game. We pull off another win. So starting to pick up multiple wins here in a row, which is great, and we get a sellout here. So 2 field goals, 2 touchdowns rushing, 1 touchdown passing. Final score 34-26 for us. And we go to 6-5, and the Vikings fall to 5-6. So we both came into that game 5-5. So that was a pretty good win for us. Week 13, Niners playing the Hawks. Pretty even going into that second half. We're up by 2, so it's 23-21. Hawks score 9 in the third. Nobody scores in the fourth, and we lose this one. So 1 field goal, 1 touchdown rushing, 2 touchdowns passing. So we fall to 6-6, and the Hawks are not a great team at this point. They were 3-8 coming in, and they go to 4-8. So that's not a great win, considering that we had a better record than them going into that game. So getting into week 14 here, Niners at the Bengals. We're up 17-6 going into the second half of the game. Score a field goal in the third, but they score 14 in the fourth. Really make it a game. Turns into overtime, and we've managed to pull off the win with 2 field goals in overtime to their 1. So pretty good win there, but we probably should not have been outscored in the fourth like that to even make it a game. 2 field goals, 1 touchdown rushing, 2 touchdowns passing, and you can see here both teams are now 7-6. So that was a pretty good win. Let's bring up week 15. Falcons and Niners. Falcons playing in San Fran. By the time we go into the third quarter, we're up 17-10. We score 2 touchdowns in the third, which is nice. Nobody scores in the fourth, and we managed to pull off another win with a sellout. So field goals 1, 3 touchdowns rushing, and 1 touchdown passing. So that ups our record. We go to 8-6, and then they go to 6-8. So that was pretty decent. So week 16, Niners in Tennessee. We go up 10-0 going into the second half. They score 10 to tie it up going into the fourth. So they get 10 in the third to tie it all up. And then they outscore us in the fourth again, which is, again, a bit of a trend this season. And we lose this sucker. So you can see here, 1 field goal, 1 touchdown rushing, 1 touchdown passing. Final score, Titans 20, Niners 17. And Titans are pretty good at this point. They're 10-5. So it's actually not probably too bad from the defense, but probably needed that win. And we fall to 8-7. Week 17, Texans are playing in San Fran. Texans are up 7-3 going into the third quarter. We get a touchdown in the third and then 13 in the fourth. So hold them off with nothing in the last half of the game, which is pretty good. They're not a great team at this point, but our field goals were 3, no touchdowns rushing, 2 touchdowns passing. Sellout in San Fran, so we go to 9-7, and the Texans fall to 4-12. And at this point, I'm definitely not making the playoffs. And then we get into week 18, so playing the Rams in LA. Rams go up 17-3 going into the second half, and then we do a nice job of catching up, 14 in the third, tie them up in the fourth, and goes to overtime, and we pull off the win, which is a good win, get the field goal. 2 field goals, 1 touchdown rushing, 2 touchdowns passing. We go to 10-7, and Rams fall to 12-5. So that's a pretty good win at the end of the season. Not bad at all, considering we managed to pull it off in overtime and outscore them in the back half of the game quite significantly. So that was a pretty nice one. And we were third in the NFC division for this season. That's where we finished as a week 18 was third. So we'll get into the playoffs here. You probably remember this one as well. So Niners and Cowboys in the wild card game. We go up 16-7 going into the third quarter. We score 7 in the third. We get outscored in the fourth, but we managed to keep the win with 3 field goals, 2 touchdowns rushing, no touchdowns in the air, which is a bit of a problem in the playoffs. Lots of people at the Cowboy Stadium in Jerry World, 93,000. And even though the Cowboys were 12-6, we beat them, and we go to 11-7. So they would have been 12-5 at this point. So pretty darn good for us, considering they had the better record. Although, as you see, we got outscored in the fourth, which seems to be very typical for us in the playoffs these days. Go to the divisional game, playing the Pack, and we managed to pull off the win. The Pack was up by 7 going into the third quarter. We get a field goal in the third, and then get a field goal and a touchdown in the fourth and outscore them and pull off the win basically in the fourth quarter, which is another nice win for us. And we had, what was that? It says 2 field goals and no touchdowns. That does not make any sense. We'll leave that for right now. But actually, let me see if I can bring that up, because that does not make a lot of sense. Yeah, 2 field goals Yeah, that's weird. There's something wrong with the stats there, because clearly we got a touchdown against the Pack there. All right, we'll just move on. NFC Championship game against the Rams. So that's who we played in Week 18, and we had beat them. So there was some solid hope that we were going to finish that one off. And we were up 10-7 going into the third. Score again in quarter three. So now we're up 17-7, and we get outscored in the fourth again by 13-0. And we lose that sucker. We had one field goal, 2 touchdowns in the air, no touchdowns on the ground, and we fall for the overall record for the season to 12-8, and the Rams go to 15-5. And once again, two in the yellow in the playoffs. That seems to be a recurring theme in every playoff season we've looked at so far. Is there's at least 2 games out of 3 that we get outscored in the fourth quarter. So, kind of proving the point of the overall series is that we're definitely struggling in that fourth quarter, especially in the playoffs. So if we go down here, we'll have a quick look at the overall regular season point differential. So quarter one, we had outscored most the teams that we played by 22. Evened out in quarter two. We were up by 46 by quarter three, and then we fell behind in quarter four. So minus 19 point differential in quarter four for the regular season, and we outscored the other teams 9-3 for a 6-point differential in the overtime games we played. So that's 2 overtime games that we played, and we won both. So pretty good. But again, out of the 18 games, half of them we were outscored in the fourth. You can see right here that 9. So we finished the season with 27 field goals, 22 touchdowns rushing, 26 touchdowns passing, with maybe a little bit of a string. Oh, actually, no, that was that Packers game, so we can ignore that. So that's probably fairly accurate. And again, finished third in the NFC West for the regular season. And then once we got into the playoffs, you can see this point differential. We outscored them by 3 in the first quarter in the playoffs, outscored them by 2 in the second quarter in the playoffs, outscored them by 17, and held everybody. Nobody even scored on us in the third quarter. But once we got into that fourth quarter, a negative 16-point differential, and we had 2 games where we didn't even score in the fourth quarter. So that evens out to 6 points, and you can see here again, we only outscored the other teams by 56 points total in the regular season, and only by 6 in the playoffs, but that fourth quarter was just an absolute killer. So 2 out of the 3 games we were outscored in the playoffs for 6 field goals, 2 touchdowns rushing, and 2 touchdowns passing. So, another one of those rough seasons, and we're starting to see this ongoing trend in the playoffs where our fourth quarter woes definitely seem to be trending out. If we go to 2019, here's those 2 playoff games from 2019 that we were outscored in the fourth. So it's definitely becoming a problem. So, what are your comments on 2021? Do you remember that season? I remember some of that well. Probably not as fresh as the next 2 seasons, but definitely a trend line going on supporting the overall point of the series and the fourth quarter problems. So, going to switch over and head out and have a look at this Lions-Niners game. I'm sure a bunch of you are already tuned in and watching it, and we'll feel free to subscribe for 2022. I'll try to get that one up shortly, and we will talk to you soon. Have a great night, and hopefully we win, and we can finish out this season strong. Talk to you again real soon.